Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Twitter space by Hashnode. I hope you can hear me well. Okay, great. So let's get started. Today on our space, we will be talking about how the pros build audiences for their technical blogs. A Twitter space powered by Hashnode. Hashnode is a free blogging platform, a home for tech and readers. I'm Rifteria. I'm a community manager at Hashnode, and today my co-host will be Akansha.
Hi everyone. I'm so excited for this space, and I'm pretty sure that all our listeners will have major key takeaways from our wonderful speakers present here. So, yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. This week we are very excited to welcome some pro writers, developers, dev advocates, and more. We are joined by Kunal, Miki, Tapas, Alicia, Anita, and Akos. I'll let them introduce themselves as we go through our questions, which Akans and I are both really curious to know about. And of course, I will be happy to answer questions from you in the audience too. So please tweet them to us. You can use at Hashnode and we will find your questions. Okay, to get to know our speakers, let's start with an icebreaker question. Before you answer the questions, dear speakers, please introduce yourselves for our audience. So, what's your favorite or your most popular blog post? With whom should we start? Kunal, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, I'm Kunal. I work as a development manager at Sivo, a cloud native service provider. And yeah, I am content creator and I'm involved in lots of communities. And my favorite blog post is there's this guy, Alex Chu, and he is the founder of, I think, Joint Tarot. It's a mentorship based social media platform. He wrote a blog around mistakes to avoid as a someone who is just getting started in tech, and I could it's one of my favorite ones because I could resonate with it. So he mentioned some very nice points in that blog post. So that's like why I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely sounds cool. Nice. What about you, Tapas?
Hey, hi. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me in this space. I'm trying to kind of learn and share with everyone. So, hey, this is Tapas from India. I work in an organization called Microfocus and a content creator, both from blogs and YouTube side. Um, so, my favorite blog post, actually, there are many, but if I have to recall, I would say it's Victoria Low's, where she wrote about how she recovered from this imposter syndrome, and I have seen that many folks connected to it, including myself, even after spending so many years in the industry. I like that a lot, and this really resonate with me. So yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I think that I've read that one as well, so it's a really good one. What about you, Mickey?
Hey everyone, my name is Mickey. I'm head of ML Ops for a company called Featureform. It's a virtual feature store. So my favorite blog posts, there's two of them. They kind of talk about the same thing, but the first one is the Pragmatic Engineer's one-person business blog post. I think it's titled like "Don't Be a Content Creator" or something like that. That one is amazing. For folks who don't know the Pragmatic Engineer, his name's how's it, Gurgly Orzov, I think it's. He basically was an engineering manager at Uber, and then he eventually transitioned to writing newsletters and blog posts full time. And he's like one of the most successful newsletters out there. But so his blog post, the one person business, or don't be a full-time content creator. And then Sean, who a lot of people know as Swix, SWYX, he also has a similar blog post talking about how when his coding career handbook project became really successful, he didn't quit his job. So those two blog posts, they really kind of resonated with me because they really changed, honestly, like how I approach content creation and how I incorporate it into my own sort of career growth and journey to, be a little bit more anti-fragile, especially in this kind of, current economic situation.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really cool. And I also have read those blog posts, so they are very interesting. So I'm saying that for our audience as well. Do check these writers, they have amazing pieces. Thank you, Mickey. What about you, Alisa?
Hey everyone, my name is Alyssa Holland. Yeah, I'm a senior software engineer here at a fintech company in the States. Been writing on Hashnode for about a little over 2.5 years. Just an average developer trying to share, what I'm learning. As far as like favorite blog post, I've recently really liked. It's called like Front End Mastery. I think it's by a creator named Rem. I believe he might be the guy behind NodeMon. I could be wrong, but it's just really like in-depth front end articles. Like he has one on advanced React component composition and just overall front end architecture. They're like 15 plus minute reads, so it's definitely like you need to sit down and take it in. But just really, really good, especially as I'm trying to grow in my role as a front end engineer. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being with us. And last but not least, Akos.
Hi, thanks for having me on this platform. I'm Akush. I'm a software developer, CTO. I'm running my own web development agency and trying to find myself in this writing space. My favorite blog posts. There are a couple of one, of course. I'm joining Mickey. Mickey already mentioned Gergely Orosz. And there are a couple of great interviews. Monica Land made a great interview with Gergely Orosz. It's titled Start Writing Tech Content That Gets You Noticed. And that's a really good read. It's about it's almost like 2 years old, but it's for me at least it showed me the way, like how to stand out with all this with this huge amount of tech content, and not even speaking about like the rise of AI and AI assisted writing. But I think it's a great read, and everyone who wants to stand out in the future should read that. From the technical side, I really like the blog posts of Kent C. Dots. He writes about React, specifically about React and Remix. So yeah, basically everything from Kent is a great read, and also the Pragmatic Engineer. Everything from the Pragmatic Engineer newsletter is a great read.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really cool as well. Thank you, Akos. And we have with us Anita as well. My interface has froze and I can't see all the speakers and all the people in the audience. Sorry for that. I hope that Twitter space will have less bugs in the future. But yeah, if you wanna go next, Anita.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to the spaces. My name is Anita Human, and I am a developer advocate and technical writer, and also a huge fan of open source communities and projects. And my favorite blog post is always this article by Prosper. He's titled "Who is Speaking on Your Behalf." So it talks about how we make connections with people, um, even while collaborating in the workspace, and how these persons can actually advocate for us days when we're not there, and how we even make real-time friendships outside the workplace when we network with people on a day-to-day basis. And every single day I go back to read that article to remind myself the need to create real network with people outside just coming to talk about tech, or coming to share what I am doing, and also helping to impact these people too.
Wow, I love that. I read every day. I try to do something meaningful every day. So I feel you on that last one. Thank you all, and thank you for sharing with us and with our dear audience your favorite posts. So, where did you start blogging, and what kind of content can people find in your blog? Do you want to go first, Anita?
Oh yeah, sure. So my first, I started blogging on Hashnode, and it's crazy because I just heard about it like 2 months in, and someone was like, I could write anything on Hashnode. I was like, that's not possible because technical writers are always experts, right? So I had no idea of what I was going to write on. But I just wrote a sentence that day and I was like, I want to start blogging, but I don't have an idea about it. That was the first blog post I made on Hashnode. And afterwards, I noticed that so many persons followed me, not because I posted something meaningful, but because I was willing to put my journey out there. And so it all started with Hashnode 2 years ago.
Oh, nice. What about you, Akash?
I wrote my first blog post in 2008. That was a long time ago. On WordPress, and that was I was at the university, and it wasn't really technical or wasn't focused towards any specific topic. I just tried to basically write about the courses that I was listening to, the meetups that I went to, and stuff like that. So basically, without anything, basically without focusing on anything. I guess my focused, my more goal oriented writing definitely started with Hashnode. That was about a year and a half ago.
Nice. I didn't know that. Kunal?
Yeah, I started in my, I think, freshman year itself. My first blog post was when I got into Google Summer of Code. People were saying like, "Can you share your journey?" So that was my first one. And then last year we started a newsletter on like a personal blog on Hashnode, which is it's blog.wemakedevs.org. So we do case studies, we do like tutorials and all sorts of things. And our newsletter is also on Hashnode, so we do monthly newsletters as well. That's what's going on right now. Yeah.
Cool. Tapas, what about you?
I started my public writing almost 3 years back, and it was quite random, right? I was probably searching for something, and then I suddenly found out there is something called Hashnode, a platform where a lot of discussions goes on, and then found there is a way that you can actually start creating your drafts and articles. So there is a topic in mind. It was about asynchronous JavaScript topic about event loop and things like that. So I just posted something, and it it kind of worked out in a way, like at least two people liked it, that it felt like it was a good one. So that's how I started. And on my blog, if you go, you will mostly find out things like on JavaScript, React, open source, how to write, about blogging, all this stuff, and a few maybe career oriented stuff. And also we are running a community on React called React Play, and very recently we hosted our React Play blog.reactplay.io, also on Hashnode. So folks are writing like community driven writing about React topics there as well. There are some contributing. So yeah, so all the way is going on since then.
Yeah, Hashnode is a very vibrant community and full of amazing people. So there is always someone that will read your blog, will like your blog, will make a nice comment, and we love that about Hashnode. What about you, Mickey?
Gosh, yeah, I don't even remember when I first started blogging, but I think the first kind of like serious, I guess, piece I put out for myself was about how I broke into data science with no master's or PhD. Um, so, so I guess for people who don't know my background, basically, like, so when I graduated college, I had studied anthropology and economics. I'd been intending to go pre med because that's like the holy trinity, right, of careers for families, especially immigrant Asian families, is a doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? Can't get away from it. So I had kind of, failed in my pre-med journey, had graduated college, basically just kind of had no job opportunities. So I worked at a hair salon for a while, while I was figuring out my steps. And so, I went from working as a front desk girl at a hair salon, and then eventually kind of self-teaching and working my way through startups and all that, eventually becoming a data scientist. A lot of people really kind of just didn't believe that it was possible. So I decided, hey, I'm going to write about it. I'm going to just get all my thoughts down on paper and just kind of let people know that it's possible, and, give them some resources. And my first mistake, honestly, with it was that it was really long. It's like a 30 or 40-minute read, which, unless you're like the pragmatic engineer, you really just, most people can't get away with. But I think that was like a very personally satisfying blog post, because I felt like, when people read it, and I could always link them to it, they at least got the sense of, hey, this is like possible that they can make that career change. So, when I got that out, it was just so personally satisfying, that I decide, hey, I want to just kind of keep on actually writing and kind of putting myself out there, even though I really don't like doing that. Actually, it's very nerve-wracking for me, but I think it's very rewarding, and I love sharing my knowledge with people.
You have a very interesting story, and I wasn't aware of this. Wow, congratulations. I think you've accomplished some great things. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. What about you, Alisa?
Yeah, I actually started on blogging on Hashnode a little over 2 years ago. I think August of 2020 is when I officially started. And it was just kind of on a whim. Well, I had been like waffling back and forth on like, do I want to do this? Do I not? I take a lot of notes anyway when I'm kind of learning new things. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Yeah, I'm so glad I did, because, Hashnode really provides that kind of community where I don't really have an audience or anything, right? So it's just like actually gets it in front of people to actually read it. So yeah, so that's how I started. And then like the type of content you can find is, I'm a front end engineer, and so a lot of React, a lot of JavaScript, a lot of those kind of things. I really try to keep kind of these three words like programming, productivity, positivity inside my blog. So you find a lot of programming content, but I'm also like really into productivity and how can I kind of increase my workflow, be more efficient. So I have like a lot of these top 10 lists about, here's products I'm using, like Alfred and all these kind of things, and how I kind of try to maximize my efficiency. And then just try to have a positive spin on things as well, just kind of sharing what I'm learning. A lot of times I'll write things even though I know it's not probably not going to do so well. But I'm trying to just ultimately just share what I'm learning, and then hopefully it helps somebody along the way.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Alisa. So for the writers that didn't start at Hashnode, because some of you mentioned that you started on Hashnode, some of you may didn't start it. What made you move to Hashnode? I think Tapas, you mentioned that you didn't start at Hashnode.
I never blogged before that, so I started with Hashnode.
Oh, okay. Nikki, do you wanna go next?
Yeah, so I actually started on LinkedIn and Medium, and I still do quite a bit on LinkedIn. I think the biggest driver for me of switching from like Medium to Hashnode, so I found out about Hashnode from Swix at the recent Miami DevRel Writers Retreat about 1 or 2 months ago. So I'm going to be actually posting a review. It was basically 5 days with Swix and a bunch of other just well-respected, well-known devs who write that want to work on their skills. And so they had mentioned Hashnode. At that point, I had set up an account. I hadn't really used it for a little while, but then there's just different things going on. I realized I wanted more control over one, like making sure I had backups of my blog. So the idea of like owning your own IP has become very important to me very recently for various events and reasons. That was a big one. Secondly, having backups on GitHub, I really, really like that, because you put in all this work, and a lot of times people get really tied to like a specific social media or content platform, and you want to make sure that you're owning your content IP independent of what platform you use. So I really love the fact that Hashnode offered that. I'd also checked out Medium. Right now, it's kind of very busy, so I feel like sometimes there's an emphasis on volume as opposed to quality. And for me, that was the other part I was really interested in, was finding a community where the emphasis is still on quality as opposed to just like pushing out content that maybe doesn't have an impact. So that was the other aspect. And I really love the ability also to like, customize it to like my personal branding. That's like a really important factor for me personally, since content creation, it's not my main game, but it's like one of the pillars of the DevRel work that I do, both personally and for my company. So I think those four factors together, they really made moving away from Medium as like my primary blogging platform to be a very attractive proposition.
I feel you, Mickey. I feel you. What about you, Akush?
So as I said, I started posting on WordPress like a long time ago, and I tried a couple of platforms, Medium as well, and GitHub pages and different kind of self-hosted versions, and I think my writing exploded with Hashnode for one reason, and that is because I could focus on writing instead of tweaking my site. For example, on GitHub pages, when I actually had the time to do something productive, sometimes I just didn't write, but maybe restyled the site, or I saw somewhere an interesting theme, and I was like, oh, I should redo my site. And basically, that kept me back from writing. And I don't care that much about styling and stuff like that. So I'm really happy that Hashnode sorts out like the SEO, the page speed, and all that stuff, and I can just focus on writing, and basically you do everything else instead of me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting seeing the different opinions, and because everyone has like their options and they are free to choose whatever they like. But I feel that Hashnode has something for everyone, and I'm not just biased because I'm working at Hashnode. Okay, I also wanted to make a huge shout out because at some point we were more than 100 people. So thank you, friends that are here at Hashna today, and you are joining us on this beautiful Twitter space. Also, I saw some of you earlier requested to speak. We will not take questions like this, but feel free to type down your questions, and eventually we will go to all of them, and our speakers will try to reply to them. Okay, let's keep going. Akansha, do you have any questions for our speakers?
Yeah. Okay, so it's my turn. So one of the benefits of blogging on Hashnode is that you get access to on that. Or Tapas, you want to speak?
Akanksha, I missed actually most of your questions. I'm not sure about others.
Yeah, it cut out for me as well. So
Yeah.
I think
Okay, sure. Should I repeat the question then? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So so I was talking about the benefits of blogging on Hashnode, and it provides you with some of the handy features, right? Like the newsletter feature, or the automatic GitHub feature, or the audio articles. And those are not very easy to build when you choose to write blogs on a custom blog. So so when you are blogging on Hashnode, what are some of your favorite features that proves to be very useful to you?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
My favorite feature today is the editor. Thanks a lot for making it so better. Because I was talking to Fazlis, Sandeep, and giving them feedback. Also, is like improving that editor, and this is fantastic. So that's number one. Second is about the custom domain mapping. I think that's there for long, and that gives some kind of personalization feeling. Like I'm owning this. This is my blog. Though Hashnode is doing a lot of magic at the background, but it's still my blog. And then the GitHub backup is pretty good because I know that I'm owning it, so it is in my premises always. The customization, the CSS customization that came in, though you need to be probably a little bit of developer hat, a designer hat to do that, but still it's pretty cool. So I like that. Yeah, so these are the features I enjoy a lot.
Yeah, I thank you so much. Alisa, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but and I've tweeted about this, but like, yeah, like the fact, others have said this as well, but like, the fact that you can keep things on your own domain is a really, really big deal, especially as personal branding and stuff, I think gets more and more important. And I mentioned this earlier, but like, I'm really just like I work a 9 to 5, right? Like the blogging and content creation is all things I do on the side, just because I'm passionate about it. But like for me, I don't really have a large audience or anything. Like Hashnode really allows my articles to get in front of like a larger audience that wouldn't happen like without a lot more effort on my end. And so that for me is like really, really one of the biggest things. And it's just a great community of people. But I think the community aspect of it, like you don't really get that from other platforms, even if they do have a large reach as well. I think just kind of the fact that you can own it, the fact that like Tapas mentioned, you get the GitHub backups and all those kind of things. It really, makes a big deal and makes it fun to write.
Yeah, I totally agree with your points. Thank you. Anita, you want to go ahead? Please.
Oh yeah. So my favorite feature is the audio articles. Now, coming from the accessibility point of view, personally, I'll actually read the article because I'm a technical writer, but like I always feel more excited when I come across a blog post and I'm able to play the audio, because I could be doing so many things at the same time and um get distracted with the long text. So like playing the audio makes everything a lot easier. And I can imagine how many other persons benefit from that audio feature. I also like that on Hashnode I can personalize the way I format my content. And if you come across it, you know that okay, this is how I write and this is the kind of format I like to use when creating content. And it's something I don't see on most blog sites.
Thanks for sharing this, Anita. I loved your answer. Akos, will you want to go ahead first?
Yes, I really love the new editor. I think that's one thing that right now sets Hashnode apart from its competitors. Some of them still use this, like I have the tab where I'm writing the markdown thing, and I have the other tab where I'm switching to see how the markdown thing looks like. So that's terrible. I think you did a fantastic job with the new editor. And of course, all the things that the others already mentioned. There is one feature that it's in beta in Hashnode, and I really love to see that coming out of beta. That is the analytics feature that I'm looking at pretty often. It gives like a super detailed breakdown, like where my traffic is coming from, or what are the like third-party sites that are referring to my blog posts, and yeah, that's something that wasn't mentioned here, I think.
Thanks for sharing, Akos. I think Kunal, you want to go ahead?
My favorite feature is the how easy it is to set up the newsletter, and it's free, so that's nice. Yeah, I really like that.
Cool. I think now Mickey is left. You want to answer the question? Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so I guess Mickey is not able to hear me.
That's okay. Maybe you can continue.
Yeah, so I think I'm done with my question. Over to you, LF.
Yeah, actually, I have a similar one. Not a similar one, but why should someone blog on a community-driven platform such as Hashnode versus building their own blog? What are some benefits? Kunal, do you want to go first?
I think it's how easy you can set it up. I think that's one of the main benefits. All the features Hashnode provides, if you try to build that in house, on your own custom blog. And also, it's about, if one of the good things is that you can come in, you can network with other people, you can get discovered by other people, you can find other people's blogs and collaborate with them. So I think that's one of the main benefits. If you're just doing it on your own platform, then it's just you blogging there. You might not be able to discover other writers and things like that. So in my community, like for example, we have lots of people who take part in the monthly Hashnote challenges, and uh, that wouldn't be possible because if I was doing it on my own platform. So that's why we use Hashnote.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love your challenges and contests. Over to you, Tapas.
Yeah, so apart from what Kunal said, one thing I found is like I got an opportunity to meet a lot of co-writers and learn from them. There are folks who have been writing consistently, like I am doing, and there are a lot of feedback sharing happening, right? They go to the article and just talk about it. They give some open feedback about that, like what they like and where it can be improved, and that thing is only possible when you are writing in a community. If you're in silos, you don't know like who is giving the comment and how to validate what is the authenticity of the person. Here it's like your friend over the period of time who is kind of looking into it and giving some constructive feedback. So that's what I enjoy most, apart from all the tools thing that you spoke about.
Oh, that was so nice. Thank you. Akush?
So I think what sets apart these community-driven blogs from self-hosting your own blog is basically the feed that you have in these community-driven blogs. That even if you don't have an audience, it will make your blog discoverable by other readers on the platform. And this is why I encourage people to start on Hashnode or basically any community-driven, but mostly Hashnode because I love Hashnode, but on these community-driven blogs because they will just get more exposure to their content even without having a big audience.
Yay, thank you. What about you, Mickey?
Yeah, so I think a big reason is job and career capital. So job security and career capital. So those are big ones. I see a few, like I see people kind of reach out and say like, hey, how can I improve my chances of getting a job? And I think most people understand who are graduating right now, it is competitive, especially if you want to get into a space like data science and machine learning, for example, incredibly competitive. And the thing is, when you kind of graduate college, like, I mean, look, I've been there. I graduated college with like a 2.6 GPA. I did not have like any honors. I didn't do any clubs, all that. I graduated in 2013. So it was a slightly different, you know, situation and outlook. But still, when you graduate college, years later, I tried going back to grad school. And something that, I had run up against was even though, I was working at a company like Autodesk, I could get references from the executive leadership team. And then, I would go to the grad programs and they would say, like, look, we can't do anything for you because of your GPA. Sorry. So that was part of the reason why I never got a graduate degree was because I just didn't qualify, right? But the key point is that when you are a junior or you're a fresher or whatever, you graduate college, um, what can you actually do to impact your chances? Some people choose to go to grad school. That's a very expensive proposition, I would say, to get a job. In some cases, it makes sense, but you can't. Number one, you can't change your GPA. Two, you can maybe add on like an extra internship, but you can maybe get references. So if you can't really change the bulk of your educational background at that point, your best bet is kind of three options. One is to build a body of work independent of your educational sort of background and capital. And a good form of that is writing. Uh, Writing and code. I want to emphasize code is also important, but the best part is you can do both. You should do both. You can build up a network. Writing can be a good part of that. Sharing your knowledge with people. And third is you can do some work like on this, you can do like hackathons or projects or what have you, which once again, like good writing skills will help. So essentially for a lot of folks, especially if you're like struggling, first off, writing is a big part of that toolkit and part of building that career capital that will ensure you're resilient in your career. um you know and then the second aspect as well of the community part is a lot of us, right, in devrel or in content or what have you, we didn't get our jobs accidentally, right? We got our jobs and our careers because we built up a store of knowledge and then we shared it. And that was, in some cases that started off accidentally, but it wasn't necessarily crafted accidentally years later. And the thing is, like, when you become a person who has massive career capital and different skills, you don't actually have to worry about things, for example, like being laid off, like not being able to get a job for 6 months, all that stuff, because you have a toolkit that you can fall back on. You have a network you can fall back on. You have a community that is highly invested in your success, which, if you go solo, you don't have that kind of support network around you. So I would encourage people to consider community blogging when you're getting started, and blogging in general, because it will just have massive benefits on your career and your ability to feel very safe in tough economic times.
Yeah, thank you, Mickey. That was absolutely amazing. And your answer also answers another question that we usually see in this type of Twitter spaces, that people are asking, okay, how we can get started. And if we don't have a lot of knowledge, but we want to write something, how we can do that. And I feel that you cover that aspect really, really well. Thank you. Alisa or Anita, would you like to add anything?
Sure. Yeah, I can go. Oh, sorry. You want to go?
Sorry.
You can go, Anita. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Okay. All right. So I think one thing I enjoy about community platforms like Hashnode is first the challenges. Now for someone who is just starting out, it can be really, really difficult to stay consistent and like keep doing what you want to do. And with most of the programs, like the challenges and the trends that Hashnode puts out there, people often participate in this. Like personally, it was a great opportunity for me to be consistent with my writing, because when I did the 2 weeks, 2 articles 1 week challenge, I did like 3 consecutive times, and I noticed that I was subconsciously beginning to write, because on normal day I might not get that inspiration or the motivation to write, but like with these programs, I was able to be consistent with my writing, and so that's my point.
Yeah, I actually did that too. And that's how I started being more consistent at Hashnode as well. What about you, Lisa?
Yeah, I'll kind of keep saying, I kind of touched on it, I think, in my last response, but like, yeah, the fact that you guys pair up with, people like Daily Dev and all that, and allow, writers to get a larger reach, that's a big thing. And I think just, I think it's important to write as a developer, just being able to express your ideas, especially, I think as you get, farther along in your career, being able to express concepts and things like that can be very, very important. And so, having something like Hashnode, I think Echo mentioned this, but like you don't have to focus on the styling and the things and SEO. Like you guys handle all of that, and that really just allows you to kind of sit down and focus on, okay, what is the content I'm trying to publish, and so it takes a lot of the, I guess, distractions out, and allows you to just have a space where you can kind of share what you're learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you all for your answers. So just to, I see that some people have still requested to speak at this space, but if you have any questions, please add them in the comments, and in a bit we will go through everything, or at least as much as we can, and we will try to answer your questions. But for now, we will not take more speakers. Thank you also everyone that are still with us, because I see that we have more than 100 people. Thank you, dear audience. And yes, back to you, Akansha.
Thank you, Aleph. Okay, so I personally feel that when you start with blogging, it does include a challenging step, that is building an audience from absolute zero. So I would love to know that how you all did so and where did your first followers came from. So Anita, would you like to answer this question?
Oh yeah, sure. So well, the first followers came from people on my contact list and people on Twitter. So that that was like the medium I used to share my articles, because at the time there were rather more personal articles on my growth and technologies I was learning, because I was just new to front end development. So they were mostly on my experience getting into the tech ecosystem, and so I would share this with people that I knew, the communities that I was contributing to, like She Code Africa community, and a few other developer communities that I had on my Slack channel. I would share this with people, and
I'm sorry, we cannot hear you very well. Maybe you have some internet issues. Could someone else please continue, because we cannot hear very well, Anita.
Sure.
Tapas, do you want to go next? Oh,
Sure,
okay.
I can go, or I can kind of follow up.
Yeah.
I'll be quick. I'll be pretty quick. Yeah, I think most of my audience building has really been on Hashnode. I didn't really have an audience before. Once I kind of was like, okay, I think I'm going to be consistent with this blogging thing, I created a Twitter. So created Twitter probably way later than everyone else has. But yeah, so Hashnode's really been a big thing, and I think just trying to make sure I'm producing like quality content has really been big, and then trying to do more like guest writing, so writing on my personal blog and then writing for other tech publications and stuff like that has kind of been how I'm trying to, I guess, expand my reach and reach a larger audience.
Thanks for sharing, Elisa. Tapas, you want to answer the question?
Yeah, so about building audience, initially I was not very concerned about kind of chasing any audience or kind of building it. I was more focused on learning to write and getting feedback from the community, as I told, and then how to improve. As and when that started happening, then next thing that I was focusing on the consistency is like Anita was talking about, like those challenges, like 2 article a week or things like that. So I also participated in that and tried to get some consistency in terms of publishing articles. I was not very active on Twitter that time. There's not much aware about tech Twitter on that time. So then we came to know, like there is Twitter, and people share stuff, technical content, technical stuff over here. Then started sharing my articles and was getting some good response. But what I feel personally is, like irrespective of whatever social media you have and wherever you post, the consistency helped me a lot, because as I was writing like almost say 1 to 2 articles a week for a quite longer time, my blog was also very much refreshed in terms of the content, upcoming content coming, and people were expecting like there's something that I'll be delivering. So that way there was a connection built with my audiences, my reader, and then they started talking about, okay, there is a blog where you can find good JavaScript content or React content. So it was a bit word of mouth also. I think that helped for me. So that's the way it kind of started, and that's the way it started working out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting journey, of course, and word of mouth and consistency definitely plays an important role. And then, along with it, people start following for your content and quality content. So, people should definitely focus upon themselves first and then chase the numbers for audience and stuff. Yeah, so Akos, you wanna go
Yeah.
ahead now?
Yes. So what gave me the biggest boost in terms of followers on Hashnode were definitely the Hashnode newsletters that featured my blog posts, and Hashnode featuring my articles. And I don't have a big Hashnode following, but these are the two main things that are bringing me new followers and new readers to my blog. I have a much bigger Twitter audience where I'm well, rarely, but sometimes I promote my my blog posts. But it's definitely the Hashnode newsletter that helped.
Yeah, sharing your articles over social media definitely helps. It brings a versatile audience to your platform, right? I think Kunal, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, mostly all the points were covered, but I think one more way to grow when you're just starting out, if you're a small community, is you can collaborate with other smaller communities, and that's a very good way to grow when you're just starting out. So, just starting out, you can collaborate with other people who are just starting out, and that would help you.
Yeah, collaboration in anything works a lot. Mickey, you wanna answer the question? Am I audible? Because
Yes,
Yes,
go
you
ahead.
are.
so, um, I think Mickey is not here. So I think I've covered all the speakers. So over to you, LF. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, Tabs, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
I forgot to mention one point. Is like another thing that helped me is about cross posting and republishing the articles. So I realized, like, it's good to kind of republish your articles on other platform, other blogging platform also, like Dev, and you have maybe Showcase and things like that. That you can actually start cross posting, because you have audiences there also, and they you have the ability now to kind of bring them back to your blog, and they will be kind of expected, so you can build your own republishing strategy. I have my own. That will help to some extent.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this point. Thank you so much. I think LF, over to you.
Yep. So, thank you all for your beautiful answers. And I think that now we will pass to the questions from our audience. And the first one is coming from Dominic. He asked us, I'd love to ask what features or tools of Hashnode do you believe best help get your writing in front of people and build an experience? Examples could be using the tag system, having a unique domain, contributing to writing challenges. So, yeah, what are your thoughts? Kunal, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think writing challenges, and I know you do, like there's also a hackathon page, like where people can find hackathons, which is very nice. Um, I personally like the ability to add custom domain. I think that's very good, because I was planning to have my own like website for blogs, but now I just added a subdomain like blog dot we make devs.org. So I think that's very good, and it's free, and it's very nice. Yeah.
Cool. Akos?
Writing challenges, definitely. Like the number one thing that I think helped me to build up my consistency and my writing routine. I really loved the 4 week writing challenge. I tried doing the 2 articles for 4 weeks. I don't even remember the challenges, sorry, but I failed all of those. The only thing that worked for me was this 4 articles for 4 weeks, and I really love that you came up with some good topics, and that kind of made it easier for people to even easier for people to write, because you already had the topic. You just had to add your write down your ideas. So yes, the writing challenges definitely help.
Hmm. Thank you, Akos. And now you gave us a good idea. Maybe we should repeat a similar challenge.
Yes, please.
Hmm. Cool. What about you, Mickey?
Sorry, I was a bad student. What was the question again?
Yeah, so the question was what kind of features or tools do you like from Hashnode and you believe that best help you get your writing in front of people and build an audience?
Ah, gotcha. So I use tags a lot. Something I'm also trying to work on too is just honestly like improving my like blog titles, because sometimes they're a little bit plain and boring. So that's something I'm like trying to improve on. The other option too that is actually kind of nice is being able to toggle whether or not a blog post gets shared to the Hashnode feed. Uh, so, for example, I saw someone had asked the question about whether you could like republish on Hashnode from your like canonical blog. So I've been basically moving a lot of my pieces to Hashnode, but there's some that they're not old, but they maybe are, I think, less relevant to the audience. So I can still use Hashnode as like a place to kind of park them as like the place for the canonical link. I can add like the custom domain URL there. But I can also selectively choose which ones actually end up getting into the feed. And I think that does really help a lot. Because sometimes you kind of just want to write something and you don't really want to be worried about whether it's like off brand or whether it's not technical enough. So that's really great. So that tags. I do also like having the personalized, the different kind of feed types as well. That might help with the audience reach, but I do think for me, I like following certain like hashtags and categories, and I also like being able to I like having the personalized versus the new feed and all that because yeah, like I have different sometimes I'm in explore mode where I want to like find new categories and new writers, and sometimes I'm in exploit mode. Like I just want to like see stuff from people that I enjoy reading writings from and all that. And I'm guessing like other people probably like that as well.
Yeah, I feel you, Mickey. So does anyone else wants to add anything? If you want, you can raise your hands. Okay, I don't see anyone. So I will pass to another question. It's coming again from Lucas Kant, and the question was how we can get our first few people, our first few subscribers, or the first people who will read our blog. And Lucas, we kind of already answered that question. So later we will release this Twitter space on YouTube, and we will reshare it here on Twitter as well. So you can go back and check that answer for your question. So we have another interesting topic. If you were starting now your technical writing journey on a community-driven platform like Hashnode, what else would be important for you? Would it be convenience, custom domain that some of you already mentioned? Would it be technical support? Because I know I'm a technical person, but I don't know everything. So technical support for me is a huge one. Or maybe you want some SEO-friendly strategies and an SEO-friendly platform. So what is most important for you right now or when you were starting your journey? Anita, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think it will definitely be the SEO friendly platform because the months I started writing on Hashnode, I noticed that a Google search for my name brought up most of the articles that I had written, which was weird because I didn't know that I could pop up on Google, like, because I was really clueless about how Hashnode works, and I thought it was funny because and today if I go to search most of my articles, I like see more of my content keep popping up, and that has helped in getting me to network with more persons in terms of growing my career, because I know so many persons have reached out to me because of articles that I wrote on Hashnode a year back, and which is awesome. So I think the SEO friendly platform is something I'll definitely prioritize.
Yay. What about you, Kunal?
Yeah, I think for me, this support has been amazing. Like whenever I have a question, it's resolved very fast. So I think that's great. And um, yeah, any special requests I have, they take consideration of that, and they take feedback very seriously at Hashnode as well, which is nice. So I think that's really good.
Yay. Tapas?
Yeah, I will probably go, Kunal. It's like I like the support and the ability to take feedback so positively and work on it. I think over last 2 to 3 years that I'm associated with this platform, I've given a lot of feedback and a lot of discussion points. Most of them are some or the other way were addressed, whether it was some problem or there was some kind of issue or feature request, which I really, really like. And that shows the kind of investment the team is having towards its users. and that also make us kind of tied to the platform. This is a platform probably going to stay there for longer because it's doing amazing work, is having really good support.
Nice. Alisa?
Yeah, if I was starting today, I probably honestly would do the same thing I did when I started 2 years ago. Maybe I would just join Twitter a little earlier so I can share my content a little bit more. But it like I've said it a lot throughout this the space is that really just the fact that Hashnode promotes a lot of your stuff and gets in front of a lot of eyes is really really helpful. And a lot of the community aspect parts of it, like even the dev retro, right? Like I was thinking about doing a retrospective of my own, but then like when you guys announced the competition, it was like, okay, cool, like I'll do this. Like it gets and then the two articles one week, or yeah, 2 articles a week for like 3-4 weeks. Like I did that, and that really helped me just build up a consistent cadence of publishing and all that, and getting that feedback. So I think all those kind of things, it's very very unique, I feel like, to Hashnode, and helps you, especially when you're beginning, just build up that consistency and get that confidence as a writer.
Yeah, and I read some of your articles and some of all of you of the speakers, like the Dev Retros articles, and they're really good. Thank you for sharing them with the community. I think that a lot of them are very inspiring and can help others do stuff. So I really enjoyed them. Thank you. What about you, Mickey?
Yeah, what would I do differently? So I think the mistake I do see people making, someone asked this as a question, is like, what are early mistakes bloggers can make? Is I wouldn't try to monetize immediately. I know that's like a feature, but I would encourage people who are trying to get started okay, so I think two things I would encourage. One, I would encourage people to see content creation potentially not as like a sole career or source of income, but to instead see it as a tool in your toolkit for how to craft your career. Because, I mean, let's be real. Not everyone's going to be Mr. Beast. As a matter of fact, it's a lot of like Mr. Beast probably represents the 1% of successful folks. And you'll see that in a lot of industries where, there's this concept of like a winner takes all. So not everyone is going to hit that top 1%. It's not even like a bell curve. Very, very skewed long tail, like distribution. In other industries though, like for example, tech, I don't want to say you can be mediocre and get away with it, because that's not nice, but you can you can build up your career capital gradually, and you can have it return dividends over a period of time and just have it do that. And that's the value of written content. Like when I write something, I can kind of refer back to it. If people have questions about breaking into data science or machine learning, or what resources should they be using, I can continuously refer people back to that blog post. As long as the SEO is there, and even without it, I can directly link it. That's like a wonderful thing. Like it becomes this evergreen content, yes, but it becomes a vital part of kind of who you are. It represents your contributions, right? So that's like a wonderful thing. So I would have people focus in on, one, seeing like content creation, and especially writing on community blog posts as a tool in your toolkit. I wouldn't see it as a silver bullet, to like give you the best life possible. Because nothing in life is a silver bullet. Mr. Beast had to work for 2+ years on his videos. I think it was more. It's like 4 years or whatever before he got his, like kind of big breaks or whatever. The second part I would definitely encourage is, don't try to monetize immediately. Instead, try to build up a quality library. Really kind of introduce people to kind of who you are and what you're about. And then consider monetization later. There are those features in Hashnode, but I think that's like a really important mistake people make, is they immediately try to monetize very early on, and then you lose your personal brand and your unique perspective. You don't want to be producing what everyone else is producing. You want to be producing how you view the world, and you don't want to compromise on that. because it doesn't matter the platform. If you just write to what what you think everyone wants to read, you're basically going to not stand out. So those are some things I would encourage people to really kind of consider, especially when you're first getting started on writing. Is just chill out about it, enjoy it, write a lot, write good stuff, and then just keep moving at it.
Yeah, thank you, Mickey, for mentioning the monetization feature, but also your point of view. As we are wrapping up, I will try to be a little bit quick here, so I will move directly to Akansha for one last question.
Yeah, so as we are moving towards the end, so as final remarks from our speakers, do you have any tips or advice for our audience that they should generally do in their blogging journey? Alisa, yeah.
Yeah, I just
Please.
want to, I guess I'll kind of conclude here by saying, yeah, definitely just try and stay consistent. Like, it's so hard, but like really try not to look at the analytics and the numbers, especially when you're first starting. A lot of, like I've been on Hashnode 2 years now. Like I said, don't have a super large following. Sometimes I write blog posts that I think are going to do terrible and they do great. And sometimes I feel like I wrote a masterpiece and they just do okay. And initially, like I would get really like down and like, oh, nobody likes it. But like ultimately I'm writing for me, for my learning, and I'm trying to really produce quality content. And I think always have that as your ethos, as your guiding star, is like I'm here to produce quality content, and then from there the people will come. I think, and it may take a long time, and it can be sometimes discouraging when you see people kind of like get rich quick kind of thing, like, wow, they've been out there like less than me and they've grown, but like really just stay consistent and just remember that like, you're doing it to learn and grow and just really produce quality content. And yeah, and your audience will come that way.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Akos?
Yeah, so my advice like also revolves around consistency. I guess I would say before considering before paying for any writing course, or before paying for any tool, there are a bunch of tools and courses that help you to write better and teach you to write and stuff like that. Before doing that, just try to turn writing into a habit. Like turn it into a habit in a way that you don't really notice that, oh, I have to sit down and write again. But just like, I don't know, if you work out or do some sports, you know that you have training on these specific days, and you just go and do your training, and that's all. That's kind of how I approach writing. I have these writing sessions scheduled in my calendar, and I just know that, for example, I have to write, and that's all. I think that's the most the cheapest way to get good at writing and get into writing.
That's an interesting tip. Thank you so much. Tapas, your final remarks for our audience?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I want to conclude this by saying start writing. So many of the folks that I interact with, the very common question is like, I've been thinking of writing for last 6 months, but I have not written a single article. And if I get into a little bit deeper about the reason, like why exactly it happened, they just feel that, okay, this is not the right time or right moment to kind of get started. So I want to say, like, there is nothing called a right moment. There is nothing called a right time. Every time is right. Every moment is right. So you start, you'll make it your moment. You will make it your journey. And of course, you need to enjoy this process. You have to enjoy writing. You have to enjoy. You should have a kind of target, like why exactly you are doing, that cause. And once you understand that, and once you enjoy this journey, I think there are lots that you can actually get out of it. So anybody listening to me and wondering, like, when to start writing, I think it's right now. Yeah, that's it.
I totally love that answer, and I just totally loved it. Okay, so Anita, what about you?
Okay, I just want to add that just like every other speaker has said, you have to get comfortable with writing, and the only way to do that is to get find topics that you are comfortable with. Now, you might start with a niche that you have no idea on, but you're trying to learn. So go for the basic topics in that particular niche and start right there. It doesn't matter how basic the topics are, you're educating yourself. And as you continuously grow with your writing and that knowledge, your content will also like improve over time. So like just start with the basics and with something you're comfortable with.
Yeah, we should.
I'll go ahead and add a quick piece. Your first 10 to 15 articles are gonna suck. It's okay. All of our stuff sucked. It just is. So if you really want to if you just need an easy way to get started, for me, Twitter and LinkedIn are actually Twitter for me is actually really hard because I tend to think in like batch. I don't do stream thinking. I'm a very batch person. So what I would suggest is do a challenge for yourself for 2 weeks. Every single day, just try to write something for 500 words or 100 words, honestly. And at the end of that week, pick the one that you like the most and don't publish it. Or if you do publish it, like put it on Twitter or LinkedIn or, some of the other like social media platforms. Just play test it, do that for 2 weeks. And then at the end of each week, just pick the one that you think resonates the best and then try to build that out into an actual article. And also do that for do that for a month. Like if you have a 5-week month and you have like 5 pieces that are ready to go, and then just set a goal for yourself to do 1,000 words on each of those 5. Just really start simple. Just write, and you don't even have to publish it. Like I do that stuff all the time. Like all of us have drafts, like just sitting in our inboxes or whatever that haven't been published yet. And that's okay. It's just making sure that you're not getting in the way of your creative juice. And this is where just accepting that your first 10 are going to suck and no one's going to read it. Just do that. Just accept it. There is no pressure. No one wants to read your stuff the first 10 times, and that's okay. You can write for you. And then after those first 10 times or whatever that you publish, set a number for yourself. Then really start thinking about improving the actual product itself. The advice that one of my YouTube senseis gave me, Kenji, if y'all know him in the data science world, honestly was just pick 1 or 2 things to improve each time and then just do that, right? Whether it could be a better title, it could be a better layout. And then the other part I would just say is that there's a lot of free technical writing courses out there. Google has a free technical writing course, so check that out. And then also Swix, and there's a few others. He goes by the hashtag Nutlope. I think he's with Vercel. But a lot of us have actually published links to the Miami Dev Writers Retreat that was hosted by Swix and Michelle Bockles. So, if you're interested, tag us in there, tag myself in there if you want, and we'll post the links to the free resources if you need additional help to get started.
That was some straightforward advice for our listeners. Thank you for sharing, Mickey. I think LF has some network issues, so I will just take it over. And so thank you everyone for sharing your insightful answers. That was an enlightening space, and thank you speakers for making the time and sharing what you have learned and building your audience and writing your articles. And listeners, we appreciate you all for joining us. So if our space got you interested, start blogging at Hashnode. Or if you're already blogging, keep up the good work. Don't hesitate to connect with our vibrant community at hashnode.com. And don't forget to follow our amazing speakers. Stay tuned to Hashnode on Twitter, where we will bring you more insightful conversations in the near future. See you all next year. Hashnode wishes you a beautiful 2023.